Welcome back to the Genstead. I'm Mary. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. And Zero Hedge reported this morning that the Quality Leering Center and 20 other Somali-linked businesses were raided by the FBI and Homeland Security in Minnesota. The Department of Justice confirmed to reporter Bill Malusian that the operation, they confirmed the operation, stating, quote, it involves court-authorized law enforcement activity as part of an ongoing fraud investigation. DHS stated they were working with federal, state, and local partners, carried out the warrants relating to rampant, and this is in quotes, relating to rampant fraud of U.S. taxpayers. And since September, the Justice Department has indicted 7 alleged fraudsters who recruited members of the Somali community to enroll children in fake autism services, and they raked in $14 million, stole $14 million of taxpayer dollars. Also, there has been massive fraud uncovered in the Feeding Our Future scam in Minnesota, and I've done a couple videos in detail on this that I'll link in the comments below if you're interested in more detail. And the Feeding Our Future scam, where it was they got a bunch of COVID funds saying they were feeding the children. They stole at least $250 million of taxpayer dollars, and actually 65 have been criminally charged in those particular cases, and it is a huge operation. And then you remember the infamous Quality Leering Center. So this has been going on for, I think it's trying to remember, where are we now? About a year and a half, and the media just completely was hush-hush about the whole thing until Nick Shirley went out there and exposed it, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, really brought it into the limelight. And the Quality Leering Center, the Quality Learning Center, previously operated as the Salama Child Care Center and received $1.9 million in Minnesota Child Care Assistance Program funds just in 2025. There were no children in these programs. And this is not the first time that there have been serious issues with this particular center. In May 2015, over 10 years ago, the same location was raided by the FBI and Minnesota DHS over allegations of billing state programs for non-existent children. So this has been an ongoing issue, and apparently the crackdown has never really been permanent, obviously. And the current the Trump administration estimates the fraud in Minnesota alone to be at $19 billion at least. And so I'm not sure what they're looking for today. I'm not sure what would even be left behind. There's been so much time that has passed since this has been brought into the public eye, so to speak. So I'm not sure what evidence they're looking for, but it is a massive fraud scheme, and it's a money laundering scheme, and billions of dollars of U.S. tax dollars have been laundered and have gone to Somalia. So, and they've known this has been going on, and it was covered up. Whistleblowers were basically told to sit down and shut up, and they were intimidated, or they said they were being insensitive to the Somali community if they were trying to raise concerns about how the taxpayer dollars are being utilized. So, which is really a shame. But really the bottom line is the government is who was distributing this money without proper oversight. And whether it seems like a lot of that was by design in order to perpetuate this. And I hope something comes. I hope this crackdown is permanent. I hope they're able to stop it, put an end to it. And it's just really infuriating to me when the U.S. taxpayers, the families, people are really struggling right now. And, families are dealing with inflation. They're dealing with job losses. Cost of insurance has gone up. the price at the tank to fill your tank up with fuel. Where we are here, our price jumped from $3.89 to $4.20 overnight. So to $4.21, and that was I saw this morning, so it may have changed by then. And so those prices are going up. And from last I checked, crude oil is up to $110 a barrel. And I also read this on the Hedge. Goldman raises oil target with $120 a barrel on the radar. And it said specifically, and I quote, "The global oil market is shifting from episodic disruption to a cumulative supply shock. What began as a localized bottleneck around the Strait of Hormuz has evolved into a layered constraint system involving reduced flows, active enforcement, and delayed recovery timelines. The result is a tightening supply profile that is overwhelming baseline expectations and forcing the repricing of risk." So you have supply disruption, which becomes structured as far as the delays, constant delays and disruptions, inventory depletion, demand is adjusting, but not enough to offset the shock to the economic system. And so I think some of the realities, and I think things have gone on longer than expected by many economists. But the expectation now is the cost of oil is going to increase simply because of the circumstances that we're in right now with the Strait of Hormuz and the closure and that entire disruption to the flow of goods and services and oil. And so you can expect the cost of everything to increase. And additionally, you really need to be paying attention to what's going on with the shortages. And, honestly, with what's going on, I'm not even going to begin to understand what's going on with with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. Some of it, in some ways, to me, seems deliberate as far as causing shortages, but I won't go down that rabbit hole right now. So I did a little research. These are some of the shortages to expect this summer. Jet fuel and air travel disruptions. 2 is shortages on imported goods and consumer products, which is obvious. So, toys, kitchen appliances, pretty much anything that's imported, which is almost everything on the shelves at Walmart or Home Goods. And number 3, supply chain and inflation pressures. So, excuse me. And then on top of all of that, of course, we have the weather disruptions and the drought, which I talked about recently. And whether you have severe weather, it's drought or it's too much rain and tornadoes. And that's really affecting crop production. So in the United States. So really take the time, make sure you're prepared. I know I talk about this all the time, but it's so important because more of us that are prepared, when the shortages hit, it won't be as much of a strain on the entire economic system if we're all prepared ahead of time as opposed to trying to react. So make sure you stock up on goods and non-perishables. Make sure you have your first aid. Make sure you have water and pet supplies if you have your pets. Do what you can to become more self-sufficient. Start thinking about growing things, growing some of your own food, or having backyard chickens if you can do that to produce your own eggs. Because remember the craziness with the eggs, where egg supply and prices were just, I think it was $20 at one point for 18 eggs. So, or if you could even get them. So anyway, pay attention to what's going on. I've been a little concerned because I've seen on some of the videos I'm watching and on Facebook and people commenting going, "Oh, I stopped paying attention. There's just too much going on." Well, they want you to stop paying attention and just throw up your hands so you're not prepared. So make sure you're paying attention, make sure you're prepared, and always do what you can to be physically fit. As we know, there's a lot of people out there that aren't very nice, and we've seen a lot of very destructive behavior, very violent behavior. So do what you can to put yourself in a position where you can protect yourself and defend yourself as well. So I thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. And I look forward to talking to y'all again soon. Have a great day.